I go first today.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, Doug, here we go. Question number 1. The Browns have benched Joe Flacco for rookie Dylan Gabriel, but Flacco will remain the backup. Should the Browns have just made Shadur Sanders the backup instead?
So it depends what you're trying to accomplish. If you are giving up on this season and just developing your young guy for next season, then sure, make Shedeur the backup. Not because you expect him to play necessarily, but he gets more reps in practice as the backup quarterback. My guess is they haven't given up on the season yet, and they're 1-3. Pittsburgh's 3-1. I don't think Pittsburgh's a juggernaut. Now, it doesn't look great for the Browns, but when you're in the middle of it 4 games in, I don't think you're giving up. So I don't think they should have made Shedeur the backup. Later in the year, it might make sense, but not just yet. Unless Shedeur is better than Flacco, which I suspect that right now, at this point, he probably isn't.
I'm a big Shadur Sanders fan, but I don't think that they should have named him number 2, at least not this week. And part of my rationale with that is that I want to see how he reacts to not being named a backup. How is he going to mope around at practice? Is he going to be flippant with the media? How is he going to act? Because this is almost like it's like a little test. I want to test you and see how you're going to handle the situation. You might be the most talented quarterback we have on the roster, but you're not getting to start right now. And in fact, right now, I'm going to keep you at third string.
He was asked about it.
Yeah.
And he didn't answer. He didn't say anything.
No, but he literally mimed it.
Yep.
Like they asked him questions, Gator, and he just moved his lips and nothing came out.
Well, that's not a good look for him.
No, and you hate mimes.
I can't. Nobody likes a mime.
Well, he mimed it.
No one likes a mime. So, I mean, that's telling me a lot of what I have here. And I'd probably be on the phone with all the other GMs and saying, look, kid's available for trade. And you're not going to get anything for him. But that's somebody that if they're going to act that way about it, I probably don't want him on my roster. And that sucks for me to say because I really do think he's got talent. I think he's been trained his whole life to be an NFL quarterback. And they were, between he and his father and whoever they trust to represent them, they're all to blame for his slide and where the situation is in now.
Yeah, so, Doug, you're right. I think they're not giving up on the season, and that's why Flacco is the backup. But I would give up on the season. You just don't say it openly. But I think Shedeur should be the backup because you're going to get more reps and more practice time and all that stuff. And I think that's why do you even have 3 quarterbacks? Why did you keep him if you're not trying to develop him? So I think anything to help develop his game and see if he is the guy eventually or not, that's what I would do. Now, I would name him the starter. Gabriel gets the first shot at it. But if Gabriel gets benched, which I do think he will eventually get benched, get Shedeur ready, and that's why I would make Shedeur the backup. Guys, what's up with all the block kicks so far this year?
I don't know if people have been watching too much Tecmo Bowl lately and watching Miniford and Dixon from Cleveland go ahead and block every extra point or field goal attempt that you can do. But really what I think it is because kickers now are expected to make 50-yard field goals all the time, their trajectory changes, and that lower trajectory allows for more block kicks. I'm not saying all these are happening on longer than 50-yard attempts, but maybe the kickers are getting lazy and treating every field goal attempt or every extra point like it's a 55-yarder, and they're just kicking with a low trajectory. I'm not really sure why this is the case. And the other obvious answer is just that special teams got better or worse.
USA Today did an interesting analysis of what happened on all 12 blocked kicks, and there's not a single thing that really stands out. Teams are overloading one side of the line of scrimmage. There's, I guess, some sort of legal hurdling that's taking place where a defense will engage 2 blockers next to each other, and then a third defender will leap between them, which I guess is technically legal because he's not leaping over anybody, which is illegal. And then there's a trajectory thing. Dave Phipps said this stuff happens early in the season and late in the season. They have it happen early in the season because you're not as buttoned up, and they happen late in the season because you got a whole bunch of guys that are starting to play practice squad and signees off the street because of all the injuries in the league. But it's certainly an epidemic, and I wonder if this leaping rule is going to get looked at.
Yeah, I think it's a couple things. One, I think there has been more of a focus from special teams coordinators on trying to block, field goals. And with all the rule changes that have gone on in the NFL with special teams, I think that's become more of a focus and a focal point. So they're trying to be more creative with that, with all the rule changes. And two is, I agree, Gator. I think some kickers are just getting lazy and losing technique and fundamentals and lower trajectory because of that. Now, some of these are longer field goals, but some of these are shorter ones, and maybe they're not changing enough with, depending on distance on how they kick the ball. So those are two things I came up with, but it does make the game more exciting to know that a kick could be possibly blocked, and it's not just line up, kick it, and it's over. All right, guys, the Ravens are 1-3. This is their worst start in a decade under John Harbaugh. If the Ravens miss the playoffs, is it time to move on from Harbaugh?
Well, if I were doing this show in Baltimore, I'd be arguing at this point, no. You had Pro Bowlers Marlon Humphrey and Nate Wiggins both get hurt last week. Nnamdi Madubuike hasn't played. Lamar's hurt. Ronnie Stanley, Kyle Van Noy, Roquan Smith. That's why they're 1-3 and a tough schedule as much as anything. So I wouldn't be calling for his job yet.
I think it's stupid to call for his job. The guy has won, he's been in the playoffs 12 times since 2008 when he came on board. They've won 6 division titles in that time. They've won a Super Bowl during that time, and they've had double-digit win totals in 6 of the last 7 years. John Harbaugh's a hell of a coach. I agree with Doug. It's all injury-riddled at this point. They've got some really great players on his team, but a lot of those great players happening on the sidelines right now.
Yeah, the injuries play a huge role. The schedule plays a huge role. I would not move on from John Harbaugh if they miss the playoffs, even though they're one of the Super Bowl favorites. I just think he gets to stay as long as he wants. Ultimately, I think it's a player's league. But when you find a really, really great coach, and I think John Harbaugh is one, he's basically like a CEO of that team, the culture they have there, you keep him. I think people think that it's just easy to find another coach, and I don't think that's always the case, just like they think it's easy to find a quarterback. I think when you find your guy at those two positions, head coach and quarterback, you hang on to him. All right, the Texans finally got their first win last week against the lowly Titans, what might be the worst team in the league. C.J. Stroud had a great rookie season, but ever since then, his numbers have been down. The Texans haven't looked as good. Do you think C.J. Stroud will ever become that elite quarterback we thought he was going to be after his rookie year?
I don't think he will. The word elite is, to me, I really think it's a sacred word if you're going to use it, and I don't think he's ever going to come close to that. But can he be good enough? And he can be good enough, but I'm surprised it's taking this path that it's taken. He threw for over 4,100 yards his rookie year with 23 touchdowns and only 5 picks. He followed that up with a season where he only threw for 20 touchdown passes and 12 interceptions. This year, it's 4 touchdowns to 3 picks in the 4 games. The only thing that's changed for him this year is that his completion percentage has gone up significantly from just below 64% to almost 68%. I'm not sure what the heck the problem is in Houston. It's a team that I keep thinking is going to be great. They literally have the bookend defensive end players on that team that are good. They have the quarterback you thought was going to project and take the right trajectory in his career, and he hasn't. But no, I don't think he's ever going to be elite. I think he can be good enough, though.
It's crazy. They've won 10 games and the division each of the last 2 years. So he's good enough to get him into the postseason. He's good. I think he's got a chance to be good. And just because he's not elite now doesn't mean, I think we're learning something in this league about like Baker Mayfield and his career arc. If a guy sticks with it and gets in the right system, but that offensive line hasn't done him any favors in Houston as well. So, chances are he won't be elite, but that doesn't mean you can't win and win big with him. Yeah,
I think I agree with you guys. I don't think he'll be elite, but he's definitely regressed, and I feel like something is up. He has a really good chance to be a solid quarterback in this league, though. And like I mentioned before, it's hard to find a solid quarterback in this league, so I think he becomes a starter for a decade or so, and he is good enough to take him to the playoffs and get playoff wins. But to win a Super Bowl, I'm not so sure, and there's only so many elite quarterbacks in this game, but I wouldn't, I don't think C.J. Stroud's a bad quarterback or anything, but I think something's up there. All right, 4 weeks into the season, ESPN's Mina Kimes has said the Rams receiver Puka Nacua is the best offensive player in the league. Agree or disagree? And if not, who is?
Did she include quarterbacks?
She just said the best offensive player in the league.
Josh Allen, Lamar, Mahomes.
Right now after 4 weeks.
Yeah, personally, I think ASB is a better receiver, but no, I don't think he is. And I would say it as a quarterback. Is it Josh Allen? Is it still Patrick Mahomes? Or I think ASB is a better receiver.
Yeah, I'm with you, Doug. First of all, if you're going to include quarterbacks, then absolutely not. But if I'm just looking at non-quarterback position players, I'll take Amon-Ra St. Brown over him all day long. I've said all season long he's the best receiver in football. Hey, nice. He's got 503 yards receiving here this season. That's great. How many times has he found the end zone? Once, sir. That's it. Amon-Ra has 6 touchdown receptions and averages almost the same per reception as Puka Nacua. The Lions have more to spread it around, and Amon-Ra is way more valuable, I think, than Puka Nacua. Nakua's really good. He's really good. There's a lot of really good receivers in there, but Amon-Ra's better.
So 4 weeks into this season, I normally would have Lamar in there, but not this year. Josh Allen would be the quarterback I would probably pick, Doug. But if we're not including quarterbacks, I'll make the case for the guy who I thought would win the Offensive Player of the Year. That's Bijan Robinson. He's not a bad team, but everyone knows Bijan's like basically their only weapon. 18 receptions for a running back, 270 yards receiving, 314 rushing yards, all on a bad team. I think Bijan is an ultimate weapon in the backfield, but no one make the case for it because he's on, like I said, a bad team. But Puka is having a hell of a year. I think ASB's got the argument, like you guys mentioned as well, but that's my case for Bijan. All right, only 4 weeks into the season, and many key players across the league are injured. What do you attribute this to?
Football is a violent game. You have collisions every game that are going to result in injuries. I don't think there's anything other than players every year are bigger, stronger, faster, and no matter how many rules you're going to put in place, you can't stop guys from going into somebody's knee. You can't stop the ground from grabbing you. It just happens. It's football, and it's what happens when you get big, strong guys going against each other, full tilt for 8 seconds at a time. All that strain, something's going to give.
Yeah, bigger, stronger, faster, right? And I'll also say an accumulative effect of a 17th game, an expanded playoff format, and more field turf doesn't help at all.
It sounds crazy, but I think players are too athletic. They run too fast. They jump too high because there's always an opposite to that. You know what I mean? When you jump high, you're coming down from a higher distance.
True.
You're running faster. You're stronger. You're running quicker, tougher into each other. That means more potential injuries. They're just not as rugged as they used to be back in the day. Maybe less, there's less dad bods now that in the league. But even the old lineman guys are ridiculous. Like Penei Sewell could run routes. Yeah, I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing as far as not getting injured. A slight tweak to these muscles, and they're out for 2 to 3 weeks. So maybe maybe more dad bods and less, athletic bods. All right, who's with me?
I'm not against you.
And there it is. That concludes the Wide 9 Omaha 4 Down Around the League Blitz thingy.